Back to some news headlines now. The Justice Department now threatening to prosecute state and local officials who don't follow the president's immigration mandate.
The federal government's move to deport migrants considered criminals is raising some questions about this city's sanctuary laws. Political reporter Marcia Kramer has more.
The sign on the door of this Upper West Side church pulls no punches. It says, quote, ICE and Homeland Security cannot enter without a warrant signed by a judge.
Well, we put up that sign about a week ago, and in anticipation of the shift of administration, just wanting to be clear to everyone.
The shift the pastor talked about is the executive order signed by President Trump to deport immigrants deemed undesirable, gang members and people who have committed crimes, among others. The sign taking on new meaning with a new directive from the Justice Department today, ordering federal prosecutors to bring criminal charges against local officials who don't cooperate with raids by federal immigration agents known as ICE. Federal law prohibits state and local actors from resisting, obstructing, and otherwise failing to comply with lawful immigration-related commands, wrote Emil Bovey III, the department's acting deputy attorney general. Bovey's three-page memo also instructs the Justice Department's Civil Division to identify state and local laws and policies that threaten to impede the president's deportation policies and challenge them in court. It's unclear whether the Justice Department will seek to challenge New York City's sanctuary laws. The situation here is complicated. The city already cooperates with ICE agents in going after people who commit some 170 crimes, including murder and rape. But NYPD cops and city agencies are prohibited from helping with deportations, which are civil matters. Pastor Carpin says the sanctuary city laws protect immigrants who come to his church.
This is private property, and so it's not a place where ICE can just show up and go through randomly, round people up, or do a sweep, or ask people questions that aren't appropriate. So it's a different matter if they show up with a judicial warrant, something signed by a judge.
Now, spokespeople for the U.S. Attorney's offices in Manhattan and Brooklyn declined to comment on the new orders from Washington. Jessica?
Mayor Adams has obviously been cozying up to the new president lately. What does this mean for the city's status as a sanctuary city? I mean, this is something that he's really been open to discussing.
Well, I'm still waiting for the mayor's office to get back to me. They said they'd get back to me around 5:30, but I have a theory about this. I don't think that the mayor would be very upset if the Justice Department decided to challenge our sanctuary laws, because the mayor himself would like to challenge the sanctuary laws. So we're waiting to see if they challenge it, and I think sort of like behind the scenes, the mayor saying, go for it, go for it, because he'd like to see some changes as well.
Yeah, he's been open with you about that in the past.
Do you think, though, that the mayor wants to just, draw the line, though, at the criminality aspect of this? I mean, he's not talking all illegal immigrants, is he?
You're absolutely right, Christine. He wants to get rid of the criminal elements because he does realize that New York is very much important. The immigrants are very important to the economy of New York City. They do a lot of jobs, and it's a thriving immigrant community, and he wants to keep that going.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were clear about that, Marcia.
We are.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Marcia.
Thank you so much. And guess what? As about 5 minutes ago, all federal DEI employees have been placed on administrative leave.
The move is part of President Trump's promise to dismantle diversity programs, which he calls radical and wasteful spending within the government. And now he's even pressuring the private sector to follow suit. CBS News has obtained the memos sent to federal agencies outlining President Trump's executive order eliminating all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across the federal government.
It was expected, but it's reprehensible. It is nothing but an effort to repeal the progress that this nation has made over the last 60 years, and it has to be resisted.
We believe the DEI is just an unnecessary layer of bureaucracy.
DEI programs were designed to provide a fair work environment and employment opportunities for minorities, including women, ethnic minorities, and members of the LGBTQ community.
Don't fall for the false argument that this is about the restoration of merit. What this is really about is saying that only some with merit deserve a chance.
Most Republicans call DEI initiatives woke and unnecessary and say the Biden administration refused to even disclose how many people were hired for DEI positions.
The first step is to end it, figure out how many employees we're talking about, and then figure out, can these employees be terminated, or can these employees be moved into another position in the federal government where they're needed?
The president's action places all federal DEI employees on paid leave, suspends their email access, cancels all diversity-related training, and removes DEI-focused web pages from federal sites. Sources tell me hundreds of federal workers in the tri-state area are now in limbo, including employees at the Army Corps of Engineers, Housing and Urban Development, and the Environmental Protection Agency. The executive order also contains language dissuading private companies that receive government contracts from hiring employees from marginalized backgrounds. It also asks government agencies to identify private companies that might be subject to civil investigation based on what President Trump calls, quote, illegal DEI discrimination and preferences. In the past few weeks, companies like Walmart and McDonald's have already started scaling back on their DEI initiatives. And the president has now ordered every federal agency to submit a list of DEI employees by Thursday and identify potential terminations by the end of next week.
Have you been able to talk to any local agencies? And if you did, what did they say?
I reached out to every single federal agency with a New York-based office. Every single one declined my request for an interview. I understand this is a really sensitive topic right now. And as Representative Comer said, they haven't even told the White House how many DEI employees they have. They're not going to tell me how many DEI employees they have. Also, you know, we tried to get a federal employee who would be impacted by this. I spoke with one who said, I'm trying to get reassigned. I'm hoping that I'm going to be on that reassignment list, not on the termination list.
So there's a fear factor.
Yeah, there's
there.
a fear factor for sure.
Well, a lot to sort out, and also obviously in the courts to sort out as well, which is still to come.
Absolutely.
All right, Jessica, thank you. And do stay with CBS News for continuing coverage of Trump's first 100 days in office. We'll keep you informed on the president's executive orders and their impact in our area.